Hi, this is Magic from DCX, and today I have the pleasure to show you the commissioning and installation of the ICP40 Immersion Enclosure bundle. So the most popular immersion system, actually home immersion system in the world. We shipped almost 1,100 of them so far, and we are delivering lots of those every day. So I think you'll be satisfied. They are working since 2 years in the most hot and most humid environment you can imagine. So this is the system which we deliver on one pallet. It takes almost half ton to be shipped door to door, usually using the DHL or the proper forwarders for that purpose. So we have the two components which I will quickly describe, and then we'll go into the details. So that's the immersion enclosure. This is where you put your miners inside. This is where the electric fluid circulates. As you may know, we are shipping also usually 250 liters of the ThermaSafe are the most affordable and actually the best. I don't want to brag, but this is the best electric fluid you can get. It's fully synthetic fluid designed for cooling electronic components, especially taking into the account the complexities of the crypto mining hardware. The enclosure actually takes approximately 230 liters if we have fully loaded with the miners and they displace the fluid, but we're shipping 250 just to be on the safe side. The enclosure has two active components. One is the circulation pump, and we are using even stronger than previously circulation pump designed to run the electric fluids. It takes 260 watts, and this is all we need to actually actively reject the heat from the enclosure on the enclosure side. And we're using one passive component which is the heat exchanger, and you have two connectors on that heat exchanger. One is outlet from the heat exchanger, and that's the inlet. This is where you connect the ICP40 dry cooler. You can connect it to the home loop, facility loop. You can reject the heat. You can reuse the heat to heat your pool, heat your jacuzzi. I mean, possibilities are endless, and you can actually, you don't have to use that dry cooler or just treat that dry cooler system as a, spare component, backup component, especially during the colder season, during the winter time, right? So that's the enclosure, two active components, and some of the components inside, which I will describe later. The other unit which we have is the ICP40, which is integrated dry cooler integrated with the pumping system, which is hidden inside in that pump compartment. We are using two 500 millimeters fans. These are 50-60 hertz fans, which take 320 to 340, depends on the fan model, because we are using different vendors, relying mostly on the most recognized Beck or EBM pumps, two best brands we can get in terms of the dry coolers, in terms of the fans. And the system has dual fans, so they take approximately 700-750 watts. It depends actually, because the system is equipped with the fan controller. So the fan controller adapts to the ambient temperature and slows down the fans if we don't use the full capacity, if we don't have to use the full capacity for the system. The dry cooler or ICP40 integrated cooling and pumping system must be located outside. So always outside, ideally on the north side of the building. It will reject up to 40 kilowatt of the heat from your enclosure under the 35 degrees Celsius ambient air, means 95 Fahrenheit. So kind of, summer days. So during those summer days, it should reject 40 kilowatt of heat. It should get the better heat exchange during the winter. During the winter or moderate time, the fans should slow down, or if you will choose to run them at full capacity, they will allow you to overclock your miners in most areas, in most configurations. The system has the two rubber legs which you need to attach. Previously we were shipping them attached, but right now it came, we had to enlarge it. So that's kind of oversized unit. This is the maximum which we can fit on one pallet. So you need to attach those legs after removing that from the pallets. So this is the ICP40. That stays outside. The enclosure stays always inside. And now I need to show you what's inside of the pump compartment of that unit, because we have few active components here. So it's always connected. There will be 4 screws which you need to, there will be some covers which you need to remove. After you remove that, just take the handle and just remove that component from behind. That's the pumping compartment and fan control compartment of that unit, and we have few components here which I need to present to you quickly. We have the breaker box. So we have the breaker box, and one starts the fans, the other starts the pump. We have the inlet fitting or inlet manifold. So this is where the fluid goes to the system, and we have outlet manifold. So this is where the fluid goes back from the system to the enclosure. We have the pump, which circulates the fluid. It's active pump, it's smart pump, it vents themselves. Pretty good product, and it's also cooled by the means of the dry cooler. So the hot fluid which goes into the pump is already cooled here in the pump head, which is hidden inside of the enclosure of the compartment of the ICP40. We have the one-way valve, which we use only for one purpose. We are filling the system through that one-way valve, and we have the fan controller, which controls the speed of the fans, so we don't have so much noise during the colder season. And that would be it. Actually, that's the all what you need to know about the system. And now I can show you how to connect those 2 components together. Next step, which we need to connect the immersion enclosure with the ICP40. So 2 components which must be connected using the provided tubing. As you can see, I gathered lots of small items here which we need. Actually, all the installation, all the commissioning should take less than 1 hour. Well, we did some records locally, but well, let's do it slowly, step by step. So first, the positioning of the components. The immersion enclosure should be located inside, ideally in the closed room without the access of the animals or the kids. The enclosure can be quite hot, especially in the top part, because we are actually in the business of transferring the heat, not cooling the miners. We are transferring the heat from the miners to the outside. So in the bottom, the inlet temperature of our system is approximately 40 degrees Celsius, so 104 Fahrenheit, and on the top it can rise. The delta T is approximately 20 degrees or even higher, so we can expect approximately 60 degrees Celsius on the top here in the top part, which means 140 Fahrenheit, which is pretty hot. And it's maybe not the nice sensation to just touch the hot metal enclosure. We stayed with the metal enclosure because we degrade the level of any humidity, so we can install that in really, really hot, humid areas, because the hot enclosure degrades the humidity significantly. So, and actually we can reuse the heat. So all the opportunities related to the heat reuse, this is what we can provide. The plastic enclosures will never do that. And also it must be properly built to be able to fit 200 kilograms of the immersion hardware, right? So that's why we're using steel enclosures. That enclosure must be located in the proper area. Please watch out if you locate those enclosures, make sure that it's not so far away from the ICP40. Ideally, it would be if you just connect the enclosure on the one side and ICP40 nearby on the other side of the wall. So that will be the best solution. You can actually install that enclosure also in the basement, and that ICP40 unit may be located on the ground level, or some of the customers, some of our users, they operate that ICP40 on the roof, and it's just fine. You may need to use the additional circulation pump to just push that flow, but that pump is pretty strong, so it should sustain your operation also. So the enclosure located inside, I would put something on the bottom to just in any event of any leak or spill. Actually, mostly spilling from the enclosure. If that will happen, you'll be protected. Had some leaks, but it was probably maybe 2 or 3 issues. And as I said, we sold already over 1,000 of those enclosures, and they operate since a pretty long time. So we are pretty satisfied with the quality of the build. We just once replaced the circulation pump. It should work just fine in the long term on your side. So the enclosure inside, the ICP40 dry cooler system. It should be located outside, ideally on the north side of the building, so the less sun, the better. If you are located in the really hot climate, if you will be located in Qatar or anywhere in the Middle East, for example, then we would suggest to have some kind of sunshade over it, so you'll be able to at least degrade the temperature just a little bit if that's possible. The unit must be located with some space from the wall, ideally 1 meter. If that should be less, well, that's just fine. Just keep at least half a meter of the distance so the unit can breathe. And again, it must have access to the fresh air. It must have access to the outside air. It will not work inside. We saw some installations when customers are putting the fans to push that flow into the compartment, but it's always sucking the fresh air, colder air from the outside. The fans are sucking the air through the coils, so we should have unobstructed space here so they can operate. So keeping the proper distance on both sides of the dry cooler is pretty important. We should agree how to connect the ICP40 with the immersion enclosure. So we have the tubing which we provide. This is the proper hot water steam tubing. It can be with the silver strip, it can be with the green strip. That's just fine. Both are great. That's for the steam. The other one is for the hot water. So still 100 degrees high. We never reach that temperature, so you'll be just fine using both type of tubing. They are UV resistant, so they will never break in the long term of the operation. So this is what we provide, and we actually provide you with the 20 meters of those. So you are able to space out those two components in the distance of 10 meters altogether, right? So this is how we run that. What I can suggest is when you will be running that when there will be elevation difference between the enclosure and the ICP40 or the long distance, so we suggest to not hang that tubing, because it's meant to be supported on all the way. So we suggest to just change it to the steel pipe instead of the rubber tubing, and the steel pipe will also provide you some additional heat rejection during the colder season, during the cold season, and that will be beneficial for your solution. The tubing which you use is DN25 or 1 inch, so you will need to have the same DN25 or 1 inch connection, and you can end up that pipe connection with the simple hose fittings. Also, DN25 actually has 26 millimeters diameter here. Connect those two components with the steel pipe, and then just end up with some amount of that flexible tubing to have some kind of flexibility on both sides for any maintenance purpose. But we suggest using the steel pipe on the long connection. Now, one important thing in regards to the preparation of the tubing. It's pretty important that the end of the tubing it's not, it has straight edges. It's pretty important to have that properly cut. So we cannot have the angled cut, and it should fit finally properly on the hose fittings. So we highly recommend to use some proper tool for cutting or taking some effort. There are different tools which may be used for the purpose of the cutting the tubing. You can also use the whatever you have at hand, right? So typical kind of knife. Just make sure you cut that straight, right? So that, and I will just quickly demonstrate how it's done. If you have proper tool, it's just fine. Just push that. That should be fine, and then just finish it with some additional tool. Should be fine. I need just one more thing, which I will find here. So please remember, you will get that pressure pump or the test pump. And in that pump, we usually hide some additional goodies which we need, mostly electronic components, sensors, and all the elements. So we have few components here. Actually, what I was thinking about was the GPS clamps. So we'll be using GPS clamps to connect those two components. It's a very good way to, I would advise to properly mark the tubing, because we cannot mix the inlets and outlets on that system, especially when you will be running that, when you'll be pushing that both tubes through the opening in the wall. Then you can get mixed which one is which one, right? So just make sure that you'll be making a note or making the marking on the tubing, so then you can connect it properly. What I'm going to do right now is I will connect the outlet tubing or outlet pipe to the inlet part of the dry cooler, and maybe I will first show you the important item, which are the inlets. As you can see, we have two fittings here. One, the inlet fitting, so that in the middle below the pump, that's the inlet. This is where the fluid goes to the dry cooler to be additionally cooled. That one is outlet, right? So simple as that. The middle one, it's inlet. The right one is outlet. And on the enclosure on the other side, the bottom one is inlet and the top one is outlet, right? So from the top here to inlet, and from the dry cooler outlet to the inlet of the enclosure. Simple as that. And actually there are markings on the heat exchanger, so you can see how the flow through the exchanger goes, right? So let's connect both components. As I said, I will connect first the outlet from the enclosure, and let's push it here. Okay, so for the sake of better aesthetics, I just connected the inlet, the outlet from the enclosure, through here to the inlet to the ICP40, so below the circulation pump. So both fittings are connected, and now let's configure the inlet to the enclosure, outlet from the ICP40. The same tubing, again, you can use permanent marker anyway, just to mark that connection properly. If you will be pushing that through the wall, then it may be helpful. So again, connecting those on the enclosure first, and let's take my GPS clamp, let's loosen it a bit, and let's push it here. It may take some time. Just make sure you reach the end of the fitting with your hose. There you go. Now let's position the GPS clamp. Yeah, it's fine. And there you go. It takes some effort, but it's usually one-time operation. So as you can see, the very important detail, you need to make sure that the hose fitting reaches the end of the fitting. That's pretty important. We don't want to have any openings here. And the GPS clamps, I positioned it here just to few millimeters below to the fitting. Now I'm using the 10 millimeter key, and let's close the GPS clamp. That's it. Close it fully. Now on the other side of the enclosure. And here on the inlet at the bottom. There you go. We finished the connection of the immersion enclosure and the ICP40. Look just fine for me. That's the proper connection. Now we can start filling the system. To do that, we'll use the pressure pump. So simple component, easy to operate, but there are a few small items which we need to remember. You will see the handle here. So that's just the handle of that pump. Just attach it here. To fill the system, we need to connect the pressure pump hose to the one-way valve on the ICP40. So take that silver cap off. We can take that fitting here. Okay. So we have the small gasket here. So push it on that side. Since that's one-way valve, then it will basically take the fluid. It will not let fluid escape. So if there will be some dripping here, some leak, that's just fine. And here we have a gasket here, so we don't need to do additional gasket on the other side. If you feel that you would like to have some proper or better connection, then just use any tool you have at hand to just close it fully. What we need to put inside, it's the water or demineralized water. So we don't transport water to customers. We often ship that with air cargo. We ship the dielectric fluids, we ship the solvents, which you can see, but we don't ship the water. So you just need to source locally demineralized water or distilled water. Both are just fine. With that water, we suggest using the additive. So that's the additive which you add to the water, to the dry coolers. That's the concentrated additive. So for the ICP40, you just need half of the bottle. Leave the other one. You will add that next year. And for the 120 kilowatt dry cooler, you will use more, or you will use additional package of the concentrated version. So that's the anti-corrosion agent. That's antifreeze, and that will protect you until the 0 degrees. But having said that, you need to remember, if you're using demineralized water inside of the system, you are pressurizing it. If there will be negative temperature, -5, -10 degrees Celsius or less, the water will freeze inside if you will stop your system. So if you stop your system because of the power failure, or you'll perform any maintenance, then the water will immediately freeze in those small coils and you will ruin your dry cooler. You don't want that. So in that case, we'll be using the proper glycol amount. And if you observe the manuals on our website, you will see that, for example, 50% glycol will protect you until the certain level, until the certain temperature. You will see that table on the manual on our website. Just buy the locally antifreeze mix. You can use antifreeze mix for the car radiators, so winter antifreeze car radiator fluid, that will be just fine. You can use the demineralized water mixed 50-50 with the propylene glycol or ethylene glycol, but they're both just fine. Just make sure you are properly protected. Observe the manual on our website, and do not ruin your dry cooler during the colder season. When we pressurizing this system, we need to add the water into the compartment of that pump. So I'll just show you how to do that pretty quickly. So just put the water inside. In most of the countries it's pretty cheap to buy. used for ironing and other purposes. ICP40, if the tubing will be long enough, so you use 10 liters, if you use 10 meters of the tubing, so 20 meters altogether, then you may require 15 liters of the demineralized water. Here I have 5 liters. But in our case, since we have very short tube, we may use less than 10. We'll see how much we will require. Now, we fill the system with the demineralized water. We are using the additive, anti-corrosion, anti-freeze agent. Bear with me, I will not add that here. Just please make sure that you will add that. You'll find that in the package for sure. So just use that during the normal operation. Here we'll just immediately drain that water, so I will not use that. Okay, so how to operate the pressure pump? Pretty simple, but you need to remember that you have 3 elements here. You have the handle, you have the hose, which you connect to the one-way fitting. You have the 2 valves, valve 2 and valve 1, and the manometer here. So this is what you need to observe. Valve 2 is used for releasing the pressure from the system. So if I will open that, I will basically pushing the fluid inside of the pump. So you'll be able to see that I'm basically pushing the water from the pump to the pump again. So that's for the releasing of the pressure. If you feel that you added too much pressure to the system, you should close the valve 2 for the filling procedure. So I'm closing that clockwise. So turning right, clockwise. No, that's completely closed, right? Now I need to open valve 1 to be able to fill the loop. So I'm just opening it just a little bit, right? So I'm just opening to the left counterclockwise, okay? So the valve 2 is closed, valve 1 is open. Now I need to observe the manometer, and you have 3 measurement units. You have measurement in megapascals, PSIs, and the bars. So the bars are first from the left. So the measurement here, that's the bar. And actually, you can operate at the 1 bar plus. Half bar is just fine. 1 bar is enough. More than that, not needed really. I mean, you can push the system up to 6 bar. But that should be, maximum for the operation of the pump, and maximum for the hoses, for the tubing. Obviously, the bursting pressure of the hoses is so much higher, but still, let's keep below 6 bar for sure. I close the valve 2. I open the valve 1 counterclockwise. I reset the manometer, and you can see that you have the temporary measurement of the maximum pressure in the system, which is indicated by that red arrow here. So to reset that, you just turn the yellow screw in the middle, right? So simple as that. Now what you need to do is just to pressurize the system, just wiggling with that handle. Right now I'm just pushing the water into the system. As you can see, that gradually the temporary pressure indicator is adding more pressure into the loop. Let me just reset that for the to double check. Okay. Now we have really short connection. I think it's still not enough. It doesn't feel to me if that's full. So you can press the tubing, make sure, or just check if that's stiff or if that's still pretty soft. So let's push it a little bit more to the system. Almost finished. I'm observing here that I have 6 bar, up to 6 bar, which is just indicative and it will change in a moment when I will remove the air from the system. So please observe here, I just pressurize the loop. I can feel that the hoses are pretty hard, so they're full of water. You should observe if the hoses are not, having the shape of the sausage. We don't want that. That's overpressurized. So just please take care when you are starting the system. Now, the current units are equipped with the automatic vent, and you can observe what's happening here. And I need you to see here and observe here. If there will be any dripping, you will see what is happening. That's just fine. It will drip from the air vent. So there is an air vent, and please observe when I will, or hear when I will open that. Just a moment. You can hear removing the air from every pocket, every coil there is on that unit, and it's automatic air vent. So if you will open that just a little bit, you'll be able to release the excess air. And now, if you check the operation of the pump, you will see that the pressure change. You can just add the water a little bit, and if there will be too much, it will start dripping from that air vent. For sure that the vent will release the excess air which you have in the system. The rest of the operation, you have one power socket, one outlet on the ICP40. It's hermetic. You can connect that outdoors. That's just fine. As mentioned, the system is using 212 volts up to 240 volts, single phase, so kind of European or Asia standard. It will take as much as 1 kilowatt total, so both the dry cooler and the enclosure. That unit will take approximately 800 watts altogether at the maximum speed. Just one thing to remember, the typical connection of two hot legs of 110, 115, 120, creating kind of American dual phase 240 volts is actually more than that, 244 plus. It will not work. You will burn your components. You don't want that. So please equip yourself with the typical US to EU voltage transformer. It's cheap to buy, just approximately $80 maybe. Just make sure that if you're having the unit which is having in total 1 kilowatt, or takes 1 kilowatt of energy, you need to have double than that. So 2000 watts, even 3000 watt version, it's less than 90 bucks on Amazon. Then this is what you need for the continuous operation of the system. So I'm just connecting the unit. Nothing special is required, and I have two breakers here. So just observe those two breakers. One is marked F like fans, or W, and it's for the fan operation. The other one is for the pump. So let's start the pump first, because actually what you need to right now hear is to hear the sound of the pump. So let's try to hear it. Starting P like pump, and I can hear that the water is traveling through the system. And again, there may be some dripping from that pump. It's, as you can see, it's a little bit noisy. So that means that it can be airlocked. I still need to add some water into the system, because the pump should circulate almost silently. So let me see how the pump is behaving on the other side. I need you to see through the fan, because the pump head is on the other side. I will start the pump right now, and I will observe what's happening here, and I will see the digits on the LCD screen. You'll be able to see that. And I see 28, which is not enough. It just means that I need to add some additional water into the system. So let's do that. You can hear I just removed some air from the system. Also, the pump starts working differently. Previously, it was kind of noisy, buzzing. Right now, it's so much better. Just removing the air again. Let's observe what's happening. It's a little bit better. I have 50, but let's just add more water and it will be fine. So we performed the pressure filling of the unit. You can hear that the pump is working evenly and it's not noisy. However, it may take some time until the gas is released from the system. And if I will use that air vent again or open that air vent a little bit more, I just save some air here to just show you. Again, you'll be able to hear the air leaving the system, right? And if you hear an even sound of the pump, it's coming, I believe, then it means that you need to take some time, just again depressurize add some pressure and wait for the air to gather here, and then open that additionally, just release some air or wait a little bit. What helps also if you lift that unit a little bit, so just shake it a little bit. It will allow the air to escape from all those coils. So just you can use that, and then you can get some of the air from the system. So the pump will be so silent that you will not hear the operation, or almost not hear the operation. If you will be hearing any air traveling through the system, so whooshing, so bubbles going to the coil, it means that you just need to open the air vent just a little bit, regulate it, release some air, just be patient, right? And pump which is set properly will show you 180 on the or nearby that number on the pump head, which you able to see through the first fan. So if you go here and you observe the pump head, you will see the digits there, and there should be 180 or something like that. Now, since we close the operation of the pump and we fill the system, it takes some time, but it's usually one time operation. Then we can go into the fans and start the fans and describe the operation modes of the fans. Just one more add-on in terms of the connection of the pump and filling the system. Now the system is pretty cold. Now when you start the operation, when you put the minus inside, then you will get additional amount of the heat, and that will release additional air from all the pockets here. So you will have to check those air vents again and just maybe release additionally some air from the system. Simple as that. And you should get that set up pretty quickly. It usually takes an hour or so just to properly fill the system, connect it, and all. Now let's go into the connection or the startup mode of the fans. So let's see how the fans work. If we are talking about the fans, we can stop the pump for a moment. So let's close that. And please observe here we have two simple electrical components. One is breaker box, the other one is fan controller. The fan controller has the 0 or 1 switch, and you have the W or F for the fans. You can run the ICP40 on 2 modes. One is the full mode, so fans are running at full speed. You can hear all the noise from those fans, and there are some videos which show the noise of the fans in real life. You can run that at 100%, or you can run that in the adaptive mode. So let's start the fans running in the adaptive mode. In the full speed, so 100%. I'm switching on the breaker W, and the switch on the ICP40 is on 0, so we don't starting that. So that's the noise of the fans at full speed. You need to remember we are in the silent warehouse right now. That's our shipping assembly warehouse, and that's the full speed of the fans. Normally, if you have the 50 decibels outside, 60 decibels outside, it doesn't be located outside in the kind of typical city area. Well, that will be just additional AC unit, maybe a little bit louder, but That's designed for removing 40 kilowatt of the heat from your system. So, it must be noisy, and that's the less noise you can get. Shipped to your door. Now I stop the fans in the full speed. You can see that's the. I just removed some air from the system, so it may take some time. Now let's describe the operation modes in the adaptive operation mode. So you have the fan controller here. I hope you can see it. Start the fans in the fan adaptive mode. The breaker W or the breaker fan stays down. I'm just starting the fan controller, and you will see the here on the screen. Startup procedure, and the fans are starting. It's 18 degrees here. So this is what's here, and yeah, it's colder because we were just running the pump through the coils, and so that's colder. Now we can hear that the fans are starting, and they're running very, very slowly. We have different fans with the different capacitors. Sometimes they are just doesn't make any noise at all in the low power mode. Sometimes there is a small noise. So the fans are spinning, as you can see here, but very, very, very slowly. So this is what's required to run that system on the fan adaptive mode. I will make a quick demo how the noise comes up when it's hotter. I just made my coffee. I just took a few sips, but I like my coffee hot. So let's use that to simulate the hot fluid going out of the enclosure. And I'm just taking the sensor from the fan controller. I'll put my coffee here. Let's put sensor inside, and let's see what happens. I have right now 35 degrees, raising fast to 40 degrees, and that's the 40 degrees from the enclosure. You can hear that the fans are going up a little bit higher, now going to kind of 55 almost. And honestly, that's the temperature of the fluid going back from the enclosure, 56 right now. That will be normal temperature during the kind of moderate season or colder season, 57. That's the realistic noise of your operation during the hottest, during the moderate season or during the colder season. So because the 59, 60, that's the up to 60 actually. So 50-ish, kind of 5. Yeah, we push up to 60. So when it's 60 degrees, that's the noise of the operation during the hot season. And as you can see, it's almost 60, so it tries to adapt. Now, let's clean that mess. That goes to customer. That water is also hot. But that will be realistic noise, 55 right now. That will be realistic noise of your operation during the colder season. So please compare that one with the noise of the 12 watts miners which fit that enclosure, right? So running at 89 decibels, 90 decibels, or compare it to the noise of 8 Antminers S19, which we have here. So that's the, let's say, no comparison at all. That's unbearable, and that's kind of pretty noisy AC unit, right? So that's the comparison, and that allows you to run your operation, which is with 40 kilowatt of the heat transfer, 40 kilowatts operation in the kind of industrial area, commercial area, or residential area. That should be just fine for most of the occasions. ICP40, as I said, most popular unit in the world right now, the most popular home mining solution, and that's delivered to you as a one bundle. We'll cover later in another manual. We'll cover the proper setup of the immersion enclosure, the fluid level, the configuration of the miners inside. But that all covers the basic installation and commissioning of the ICP40 enclosure bundle. So that's the heavy work. Now just the fun time. So the immersion of the miners inside of the enclosure. If you have any question regarding the installation, please remember on the bottom of the Critical Cooling website you will find the links for our support channel. We are supporting customers directly, each and every one, on WhatsApp or on Telegram, and we are available in most time zones. From the experience, everybody is starting the installation on Friday evening, our time. So we're used to it. So just, ask any question you may have, and we'll show you how the immersion cooling system works. Thank you.